Time to round up another big headline of the week. A federal agent's gun may have been used in the shooting death of a woman on a pier in San Francisco. Juan Francisco Lopez Sanchez pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder. Authorities say Sanchez is in the United States illegally and has been deported 5 times. San Francisco's Mayor Ed Lee says the city's sanctuary law was never, quote, intended to protect repeat, serious, and violent felons. The killing has sparked the illegal immigrant detention debate and just how far the feds and local authorities should go to cooperate. Illegal immigration is our topic this half hour. We want to hear from you on our Fox 26 Facebook page. You can also weigh in on Twitter. Be sure to use the hashtag Fox26 for life. Joining us live in the newsroom is our Roundup panel led by our senior legal analyst, Chris Tritico, our news analyst, Mustafa Tamiz, and public policy analyst, Jackie Bally. Good morning again.
Good morning.
So the president has not commented on this yet. Do you think he should?
Well, you know, Fox News host Megyn Kelly outed the president about not talking about this killing when he's talked about virtually every other high-profile murder. When the police officer shoots an African-American, he went down to South Carolina and eulogized the pastor, and I'm not criticizing him for doing any of that. But Mustafa, what Megyn Kelly is saying is wait a minute, you have a double standard here. What about this Anglo person that got murdered? Why aren't you talking about her?
Well, I mean, it's a sad thing. It's a tragedy. We have sympathies for the family, but this one killer murderer, should, lock him up and throw away the key. But he does not represent the millions of Latinos that are in this country, and some are trying to exploit this tragedy to paint a broad brush. And that's just not right, and I don't think that anybody should do that.
Why should the president have to talk about every murder?
Well, the president is the one who set up the precedent of
I get it.
of speaking about Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Freddie Gray. And again, like you said, I'm not saying he should not, but if he's going to take a position on such murders, then he definitely needs to be consistent. And that is where a lot of the criticism is. Especially this young lady was killed by someone who is here illegally. And a lot of us have been talking about securing our borders. A lot of us have been against and disagreed with the president's viewpoints on immigration. And the fact that she was killed by someone who was deported not once, not twice, but 5 times and is here illegally, that is a problem. And he is silent on it. So that's where the double standard really lies. As far as trying to paint a broad brush, I don't think anyone is saying that. My parents came here legally. They did the right thing. They followed the rules. All we are saying, legal immigrants like myself, all we are saying is follow the rules. Come into the country legally. There is a big difference between people like my parents and people like this man who are here illegally and then kills this woman, and then the president says nothing.
So let's expand this a little bit to sanctuary cities. The federal government has been opposed to cities protecting illegal immigrants in the way San Francisco does. Do you see Congress now stepping in, the House particularly stepping in and doing something with respect to immigration?
Well,
as a result of this.
The cities have been put in a difficult place where there's no comprehensive immigration reform. There's no bill that they're able to sign, both House and the Senate, that they can send to the president. The president said, send me a bill, I'll sign it. And that hasn't happened. So until we get this thing fixed, municipalities, counties, local law enforcement is in a very difficult place because they can't enforce federal laws. And in terms of cooperation, it's very difficult to cooperate with feds because they're, on the one hand, they ask you to do things. On the other hand, they're not providing the resource to be able to actually do the job.
And that's been the city's complaint, is you ask us to hold these people, but you won't come and get them. And our counties are paying the price to house your prisoners. What about that?
Well, Congress has been very clear that we want to pass a bill where we're looking at border security first. And the president has been very clear that he wants a bill that processes a lot of the people who entered our country illegally, and he wants more judges to process these people who didn't obey our laws coming into the country to begin with. So that's where you're having the conflict, because the president wants to reward these people who came here illegally, and Congress wants to say, look, we need to secure our border and make sure our laws are being enforced.
All right, let me go to Sally. She's monitoring our social media.
Look at Twitter, @MDR on Politics says He won't comment because he confirms that the border is nothing more than a revolving door. Then we're going to head over here to our Facebook page now. Ben Wyatt says, I'm surprised President Obama didn't use the murder to give another speech on our broken immigration system. On the other hand, if he talked about gun control, he would have to explain how the illegal immigrant got possession of a federal agent's firearm.
Well, you know, that's a question that I've been waiting to see resolved myself, is how he got a federal agent's firearm. Yeah. And I don't suggest for a minute that the federal agent did something wrong here, but that is an interesting question. But why didn't the president use this as a means, as he has on other high-profile murders, to say this is the problem with the immigration system?
Well, he has articulated the problem on the immigration system multiple times. He's asked the Congress to write legislation. Congress has not even done legislation on border security. I mean, we talk a lot about border security. When's the House and the Senate come together on a bill on border security, send it to the president? Because if they have, I'd like to know.
This couldn't have happened better for Donald Trump. He starts a national uproar over his statements about illegal immigrants coming in from Mexico, and on the heels of that, this happens.
Yeah, that's the only humorous part about this entire discussion. The reason, can I answer your question? The reason why the president is not talking about it is because we have been saying, look, you want to reward these people who are here illegally, and this is what they do. They kill people. Now, not all illegals who come here are killing people, but we do have 178,000. That's coming from the Obama administration. That's the number that they have for 2014. And the fact that, that Donald Trump is rising in the polls is because he is talking about this. He is talking about this illegal situation. I don't agree with all of his comments, but he's making us discuss it, and he's making us look at it more closely.
So why doesn't the House just pass a bill and send something to the president?
They're incapable of doing anything that's helpful. Look, we jail a quarter of the world's population that's in jail. It's in jail in the United States, right? We live in a country of over 326 million people. There's almost 11 million undocumented people in here. So when people say that there's 100,000 or so people that have committed some kind of crime that we're trying to deport, you know, it's the scale of it. And until Congress gets its arms around passing a comprehensive immigration reform, unless Congress does something, anything, to be productive in this area, we're going to persist to have this problem.
Jeb Bush is in favor of a pathway to citizenship in a comprehensive immigration bill. Is he going to get anywhere with it?
I think eventually you're going to have to, when you have 11 million people, you're going to have some kind of comprehensive plan. That doesn't mean that we ignore the fact that a lot of these people ignored our laws coming into the country. And that doesn't mean spend a majority of our dollars when we're talking about immigration to try to process these people and try to give them a pathway that they really don't care about having a pathway because they didn't care about our laws to begin with. But Jeb Bush has made it clear that we have 11 million people. We need to find some kind of pathway to make them successful, to do something, and that's what he's talking about. He's not saying let's just automatically give them a blanket pass.
There's sections of our border that have a wall, not many, but sections of it. And last week or the week before, a newspaper in Arizona wrote an op-ed that said the wall built as high as it is inhumane because the people that are jumping over it are breaking their legs.
Well, look, Donald Trump's solution is that he will build a wall and he will have Mexico pay for it.
Right.
And so if that's the kind of leadership that is rising from the Republican side, that is not in touch with the reality, and that's the person that's leading on the polls, and that's the person that's getting all the limelight, then not just the Republican Party is in trouble, but we're in trouble because our national debate, we're not talking about the things that matter. We're basically down to,
well, Trump's not leading, but he's rising. But he wouldn't take my bait about the Arizona op-ed. What do you say about that?
Yeah, I'm not going to take that either. But I will say the fact that the president was silent on this and refuses to talk about immigration, this is an opportunity to talk about immigration, and he's been silent on it, says a lot about his party.